Hey
Hey
everybody,
everybody,
welcome to the
welcome to the
Growing with
Ganja
Visions
Guy
podcast.
podcast.
That was Ed Rosenthal giving us a nice smoke screen to bring us open up the show. We have a really amazing episode this week. I've had a chance to spend a little bit of time with Ed this week, and it's been a really awesome experience. You got a chance to go over and check out Ouroboros Farms, and got a chance to talk about a lot of cool stuff this week. And it's going to be a really, really awesome episode. And thanks for everyone for joining us. We have Roger with us as always this week. You there, Roger?
Hello, everybody. Sorry, I had a.
We got Marty.
Hey, what's happening?
We got Fish Ganja Guy.
Hey everybody,
And we got BrayneGro.
how's it going, everybody?
And then we have our special guest, Ed Rosenthal.
Woo!
So thanks a lot, Ed, for joining us. For those of you guys that don't know, Ed's one of the more popular cannabis authors out there in the cannabis world, and he has more years of experience doing all kinds of experiments and just all different kinds of things in the cannabis realm than just about anyone else that's out there. So thanks a lot for joining us. I'll let you.
Happy to be with you.
So why don't you tell us about how you got started when you first started growing cannabis and what got you first started growing?
Well, I was always involved with plants, and so it was just natural to once I decided I liked it to grow it. It's as simple as that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what, I know you were involved with some of the early days of High Times and as well as the legalization movement. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I know they're definitely
Well, it's a long time ago, but it was a political publication, basically, of the Yippies, and that's how it started until it was taken over by felonious lawyers, namely Michael Kennedy and his group, not associated with the political Kennedys. And so he died recently, and the magazine transferred hands. I plan to stand on his grave. You know what Bob Dylan said about Masters of War? And I'll stand o'er your grave till I'm sure that you're dead. Well, the guy who took over High Times, he was a terrible person, and he held back legalization for many years by embezzlement and theft, because money that was supposed to go to legalization instead went to support his over-the-top lifestyle. So
that really sucks.
yeah, it does. But he's dead. We're still alive, so that isn't too bad.
So I know you did a lot of early work with Dennis Perone and a lot of early legalization work in the groundwork. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, after 67, the government tried to repress marijuana, and they felt that marijuana was a key to controlling politics in one way or another. And so at one point there were very few people left in the marijuana movement, and it was mainly the Yippies that supported it. And from there, everything that's grown has come from there. Even some of the original Yippies are involved, like Steve D'Angelo. So I was involved in that. Special services.
Very cool. So what was your first book that you wrote? You've written quite a few different books on cannabis.
Well, they were all books about growing marijuana. Indoor outdoor marijuana. It was called Indoor Outdoor Marijuana Growers Guide, and then we wrote other books. I wrote with a partner, and after that I wrote books by myself.
Awesome. We had a question that came in from someone on Reddit. So asked about increasing yields for less popular cannabinoids. All the data for growing techniques out there has been solely dictated to increasing THC and CBD yields. Genetics are probably the most important factor in prohibition. Has only psychoactive plants thrive? Have you seen a detriment to other cannabinoid breeding? And how do you suggest that breeders recover from that?
I don't understand the question. Do you?
Yeah, so things like THCV, CBG, CBN. How do you suggest people lose those? And then is there anything out there that you can recommend?
Well, CBN is an artifact of the deterioration of THC, so that's how you get that. CBG is an artifact of not only marijuana's potential, but potentiating it. And most people don't, and most marijuana that's grown in temperate areas might have the potential to produce CBG, but it needs more UVB light to do it. So, and then, so I think if he wants to get more expression of the other cannabinoids, that using UVA and UVB light might help them.
Awesome. I know.
And then he can always breed. You can start breeding. I mean, people have bred CBG plants and CBD plants. And look, just a few years ago, they had 3% THC and 4%, CBD, and now they have 20% CBD. So it's a question of breeding.
Ed, I just wanted to ask real quick. When you're saying use the UVA, UVB, do you think it's something that somebody would want to use throughout the whole flowering process to help potentiate the increase in the cannabinoids? Or do you think they could just add them in the last few weeks to just have them as finishing bulbs and raise those levels?
I think that UVA and UVB light is a lot like computers were, years ago, and people didn't know what their potential was, and so it took a lot of people hacking away to find out the full potential. And I think that with UVA and UVB light, we're just going to have to do more experimentation.
Awesome, thank you.
To find that out. Yeah.
Have you done any studies specifically with silica? And you want to speak on silica a little bit? It's sometimes a controversial topic in aquaponics.
Well, why do you think it's controversial?
There's a lot of people out there in aquaponics specifically who don't need it, but I've actually read white papers on now how it specifically benefits gene expression in the immune system.
Well, I haven't heard of it dealing with gene expression. I've heard of it with having a physical effect on the plant and making them more physically more resistant to herbivores, and perhaps less tasty, stronger stems.
So you want to talk a little bit about your latest book that you released, and I kind of give your legalization book on the latest laws.
Well, yeah, I have two books. I should have them here. I'll run off and get them after I finish. Well, first book is called Harvest, and it outlines totally new ways of harvesting from picking on. It's totally, it's thoroughly researched. It goes into a lot of marijuana myths. Let me give you a marijuana myth. Curing in jars. To me, that's the worst thing that you can do. And the reason for that is you don't have, the humidity jumps up and down as you burp the jars. You get condensation, which causes mold. There's a high humidity in the air in the jar, and that promotes bacterial infection. So all in all, I think that people shouldn't put their buds in jars till it's already cured and finished.
What do you think about the Movida package? Humidity, where it adds humidity, you can dial it to 58% or whatever you want for cure.
Well, you want to know, so let me ask you a question. How do you know what percentage your pot is?
Well, I've done it through trial and error to find out what I like and use that humidity.
So, anybody else here does anybody have a less subjective way of doing it?
I actually use a hygrometer in my little drying station.
Yeah, but that's measuring your relative humidity. It's not measuring it's not measuring the moisture content of your bud.
Oh, okay. No, I don't have any way to measure moisture content.
It's in the book.
By the book.
You were at the farm yesterday. You were showing me a way with the automated
the mini hedge trimmer.
Yeah, you want to talk about that a little bit? That was pretty cool.
Okay. Hey, why don't you give me a minute and I'll bring books back and the hedge trimmer. Okay.
Sure,
I'll be right back.
No problem.
I know. I'm going to have you look at yourself there.
So it actually came out to check out the farm of Ouroboros yesterday. Let me, I'm going to mute him temporarily just so we can
Perfect.
conversation. So Ed actually had sorry about the echo. We tried really hard to get the echo out before the episode, and we can't get rid of it completely. We reduced it significantly from where it was. I do apologize. So I know the questions are sometimes a little hard to understand, and I do apologize.
Yeah, I really can't hear any of them.
Sorry.
It's all good.
That's why we were a little delayed on the episode. But yeah, Ed did come down to Ouroboros yesterday, and we spent the day kind of showing him around the farm and showing him a bunch of different cool stuff we have going on over there. So
I had a suggestion that just when you're asking a question, Steve, you go ahead and mute Ed, and that takes the echo away from you. We can all understand the question.
I was going to suggest this. I didn't want to go into tech stuff mid-show, but definitely.
Well, it's better to get it somehow.
Oh, we'll see if we can fix it afterwards. Let's see if we can get some questions from chat.
So Ed looks like he's back. He looks like he's back.
Not quite yet.
Oh, okay.
At least on my screen.
So what's going on with everybody else on the panel? Anything new?
Oh, harvested my fruity pack, so I've been experimenting with taking some strawberry kush and some pineapple haze and enjoying the crap out of that. And for Marty's sake, I had 2 Blue Dreams. One doesn't taste like anything, and the other one's got the most exotic, floral, sweet taste. I can't even believe it. I'm super happy with everything. I've been stoned up the last couple days.
Very nice.
I'm down on Blue Dream. I'm not down on Blue Dream. I just think it has the seeds. That's all I'm saying.
Blue Dream is just like a dispensary strain. That's all. It's
Yeah.
like a
Like
strain
it
for
grows
the,
like crazy. It
strain for
yields.
the
You know,
masses.
I bet you got a decent yield off it, didn't you, Roger?
Actually, I did some experiment with the topping and super cropping this time, and
Oh,
have the yield I've been having. So I know I wasn't very. I mean, but I'm very happy with the quality though.
Well, that's
Didn't get
so
rid of it.
Ed, you're gonna need to unmute your thing there.
Plus, my old lady did some weird shit and left for a week out of state, and I cut things about two weeks early.
There we go.
Much easier than hand tools, wouldn't you say? Let me show you. This is from my new book, Harvest.
nice.
Okay, now, is that backwards? Are you seeing this backwards?
No,
No,
no.
it's backwards on your
No, it's
screen.
right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to show you some pictures from it.
Now you got a class here locally in Ashland with some of this same stuff. It looks like about harvesting and different methods.
Can you see that? What's going on there?
Oh, you're out trimming outside.
It's a hedge trimmer.
Yeah.
So I'm cutting with a hedge trimmer. You ever see anybody cut with a hedge trimmer before?
Just you.
Now, I can give you a little radio drama if you want about this. See that? So that cuts. So also there's this little mini hedge trimmer, and this cuts down picking time by about 2/3 or more. So that's in the book. So, and there's everything, a lot of stuff about how to do everything in it. And then let's see, I have another book that I brought in. Let's see, where is it? Oh, here it is. This is my a new book called New Rules, and it's written mostly by Jeremy Daw, and he is a really brilliant writer. And the book is about California's Prop 64. Is it Prop 60? Yeah, Prop 64. There, and it's really well written, well organized, and it's consumer based. This isn't for people who are doing business. This is consumer based. So those are my two new books.
So that's like a guideline for people that want to know what the legality is for their area.
Yeah, how they're breaking the law. The ones,
Yeah, cool. That's really nice.
Yeah, I think it will help people. And
The trimmer looks really the in the picture it looked like it was one longer bar, or was that
the picture is what?
was there one in the pictures looked like it was a trimmer that had a longer bar size?
Yeah, well that was just they have different purposes. You'd use that for taking whole branches down, and you use the mini for you cut for cutting just the buds off. So with a mini, you can go in there and cut off, like sometimes the whole bud isn't ready, just part of it. You could just go in there with a mini and just cut off the part of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it cut. I did do a class in Medford about it, and people were just amazed. They didn't believe it. So, would you like me to give you a little radio drama about this tool?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, yeah. Everybody has to close their eyes. Don't worry, I won't pick your pockets. So, okay, here we go. So, hey, Maud. Hey, I just trimmed the hedges in the front yard the way you asked me to. Okay, Ralph. Don't forget to put the hedge trimmer away. Yeah, I think when I go in there, when I put the hedge trimmer away, I'm going to get the clippers out and clip me a few buds. Oh, that will be great. Well, that's the end of the radio show. So, I just want to remind you that for 40 years, people who owned hedge trimmers put them away when they went into the garden to harvest. They knew about the hedge trimmers. They knew what they could do, but they never thought of using them.
Huh.
Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
It's a question of transferring information from one file to another. It's like government bureaucracies. They can't move the information from one section to another, and that's the same, only it's human brains.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't that profound. Yeah. So this book is full of surprises. It will change the way people harvest.
So what are some of the crazy things you've seen in cannabis in terms of things maybe people have experimented with or tried or attempted to develop?
You know what? Do you know that all drugs are going to be obsolete in like 10 years or less?
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, drugs are so indirect, right? So, you know how they have these alpha wave machines that just make you feel good because they actually, instead of teaching you how to produce alpha waves, they actually produce the alpha waves and get your brain attuned to it. You know about those? You can buy them, Okay. So, so what if you had, you have certain electrical waves when you use different drugs, right? So what if those waves are just sort of broadcast into your brain, like with a headset or, scalp set or something, and then, you could dial in whatever drug you wanted.
It's an interesting concept for sure.
Yeah.
You're talking about recreational.
Why recreational? If you can do it like that for anesthetic, for instance, like let's say to replicate what heroin does or morphine or something, that would be good. And then you're not physically addicted necessarily. Maybe you would be. No chemicals.
Right.
No needles. Hey, let's do psilocybin for 20 minutes.
That's what Steve said on my porch.
Right? Hey, you were driving funny. I'm going to test your blood. Go right ahead, officer. Here, I'll give you. Can I piss on you or what? But, oh, I missed. I'm sorry, officer. So, I was trying to get it into the bottle. Oh, look, no chemical reaction. Sorry.
So we had another question.
Okay,
What's the best?
let's talk about driverless cars.
Okay.
Let's all go in a round robin in what driverless cars will do in society.
Get
How they'll
high
change
all the
society.
time.
What?
It means I'm gonna carry a
It'll
bong on
allow
me
me
at
to
all
roll
times.
a joint while I'm driving around.
So you mean so there'll be no such thing as like drunken driving, right?
Yeah,
It'll be like that
no
movie Maximum Overdrive in the 80s.
So in what way?
I did not see that movie. I have no idea.
The cars are going to take over.
Well, how about this? It's the end of roadside motels. Because why stop at a motel if you can just sleep while your car is driving?
This is also true.
True.
So,
You know what?
but you want to get refreshed, right? So
Yep.
you'll stop at a spa where you can shower and, clean up and everything.
It'll be
What?
you're in for like 2 hours.
Yeah. You just, you stop, you eat, you shower, change clothes. Like maybe they have a gym, so you exercise a little bit, watch TV for an hour, take off. And then how about what other things do you think?
I think like commercial driving, obviously. Well, I think some of the I mean, we'll lose a lot of jobs. That's one thing, but also gain a lot of efficiency, risk a lot less life. So, but definitely people need jobs.
So what about short flight airlines people won't use short-term airlines.
Right. It'd be so much easier to just drive.
Yeah. Well, if you can drive to, let's say you're in San Francisco and you can drive to LA, but you don't have to drive. You're just riding to LA and you could be doing other things.
Yep.
You'd be working.
Yeah. Yeah, you could be working, you could be sleeping. Like, you could you could leave for LA at 11 o'clock and you're there at 7 in the morning. And you after a good night's sleep.
Yep.
Do you think they'll have autonomous vehicles that be geared towards sleeping?
Well, all you have to do is put down the seat, right?
Well, it could be more like a bed.
Yeah, if you put down the seat, it's a bed.
I mean, it could be like a larger. I even really like driving at that point. Like, kind of depends on the level of autonomy, I guess. But how much control? I guess like if you're just a passenger, you could have like a sofa or a
There
nice.
won't be a steering wheel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think you have more options than just laying back in car seat because I don't think I'm going to sleep in my car seat.
Well, that's if you have look, it would be adapted to sleeping. Of course.
As far as car production goes, like there always has to have a mechanical override over the electrical systems for safety reasons. So, I mean, realistically, I don't know if they'd ever make the car without a steering wheel.
Oh, they will very soon.
They will, because they'll be safer than, also the traffic density could be closer. And that's another thing. So that the highways, will hold more traffic.
That's you, Roger.
So what happens to all these unemployed people?
That's the interesting question.
It's a good question.
They cruise around in self-driving cars.
Universal basic.
There goes the lowriders.
Yep.
Do you think you'll see companies like Uber or Lyft invest in autonomous cars so you don't even have a driver anymore? You're just like, oh, I'll just send you.
Oh yeah, it makes sense for them to do that.
GM invested $500 million in Lyft for that very purpose.
Yep.
Of autonomous cars.
They can fleet all the autonomous cars and at least make some money.
Yeah. Well, what I'm going to do is put my robot into the car to go to work for me.
Right. And then you also have like what do they call like the things where you have the drones delivering stuff from the store.
Hey, you know how when you text, you know how like if you're texting on a phone and it will come up with 3 words and you can choose one, right? You know what I'm talking about? Like if you're using the phone to text and,
the predictive text.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to use that to write a novel.
That would be crazy.
That would be interesting. Would you like every 3rd word or something like that, or you just keep it?
Well, put in please, and it might say can or we or it will have 3 words, and then you choose one of the 3 words, and then you choose that, and then it will have the next 3 words, and it will go on and on.
Yeah,
we're losing Steve there. He's dying of boredom. He wants to speak about grow.
No. That was I'm all good. I just have to adjust the laptop. I was just talking to Marty and everybody else.
So here's what, guys. I want you to think about something. This is very serious grow. You look at some of the advertisements for different trimmers, and they say, okay, the material has to be X percentage moisture, no more or less, to get the best cut. So that how people usually measure moisture like that? Do you know how it's been measured? That it was subtractive measure. Like, so you take some pot and you weigh it, and then you put it in something that dries all the moisture out of it, and then you get another figure. So it's subtractive. Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, but you can use a meter to measure it directly. It's much easier.
That's
And then you know when it's suitable to package. So,
have you done much work with lactobacillus ferments? No, I
what?
talked to you a little bit about that before.
Excuse me?
Have you done much work with lactobacillus ferments?
No, I was listening to you talking about it, and I'm going to definitely try it. I've already taken the shrimp and put them into the pond.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll help get your pond spruced up with some extra microbes.
Yeah, I think that I'm going to get something to knock out the a lot of the phosphorus in there too.
So what you can actually do is go to a reef tank aquarium place. Tell them you have a real large aquarium. They'll give you something called phosman, which is like a type of iron oxide. and you put that in the water, absorb a ton of phosphorus, and help boost your iron levels. Called a phosphate. It's
Yeah.
a particular type of iron oxide.
Yeah,
They use it.
there are a number of products like that that knock out the phosphorus.
Yep. I know barley does real well as well.
No, no, it doesn't.
Allegedly.
I mean, allegedly. I mean, you know, maybe if you dump a ton of it in, or I don't know, but no, it's good for the people who sell those the little barley bale. They're so cute. You could use them in your miniature house.
So you have a pretty cool line of pest control stuff. Talk a little bit about that.
Oh yeah,
At the farm.
well, it's called Zero Tolerance, and the tagline is "Just say no to pests." And isn't it ironic? I wish Nancy were alive, Nancy Reagan, so she could see my name on the product. She'd know who I thought was a pest too. Anyway, so what this stuff does is it's on the label. People can make it themselves if they want to because it says what it is, and it's cinnamon, clove, rosemary, and thyme oil, along with lecithin and glycerin. And what it does is knocks down a lot of pests, most insects and mites. And you used some, didn't you?
Yep. You've used it a little bit in the show.
Yeah. And then I have a fungicide that has similar ingredients, but it also contains potassium bicarbonate, which changes the pH of the leaf surface and makes it hard for fungus to grow, to germinate. And both of those are doing pretty well, and I think they're good for people. They're the plant oils that have a low temperature of evaporation, and they break up in the atmosphere, so they don't have a big footprint.
Awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, no, I know we tested them with some black aphids and it worked great.
Yeah. Well, aphids are easy, but these will also work to control mites. And, it's very hard to totally rid your crop of mites. I mean, to get rid of them all, but this will keep them under control.
Yeah, but a lot of good luck with your product with mites, and we've had really good luck with some lemongrass stuff as well.
Yeah, that would be good. I mean, the only thing people should be aware of is with neem oil. Now, I haven't tried like the water soluble neem, but I think that might be different. Have a different.
Do you want to tell people a little bit about what the issue is with neem? A lot of people aren't aware.
Well, I think you cover it better, please.
So a lot of the issues with it is that when you mostly when it's concentrated, not so much buds, but it's mostly when it's come up correctly from wrong, that it becomes an issue.
When it burns.
Similar to like Eagle 20, where it's not so much of a big deal when it's not combusted, but once it's combusted, it turns into something else.
Yeah.
A little bit rusty.
But I think the water soluble, they might not have that problem. So.
Okay. All right.
So why don't you tell them about that plant protein, the plant, the pre-chlorophyll?
Oh yeah, Marian actually did a whole episode on that. We've done a lot of work with phytocyan and isolation and phytocyan extract, which is the base building block protein for chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B. And Marty and I both experimented with that quite a bit, both here and in Jamaica. It's been we've gotten ridiculous results, including resurrecting dead plants that dead for over 4 weeks, no water, 4 weeks, and got new branch and leaf growth and every node. That's probably the most extreme with it. And we've also got up to 60 veg per day with phytocyan and roasting. So that's been definitely one of the more crazier things to experiment with. And yeah, no, that's definitely one of the rabbit holes most, and had the hands down the best results with. I do apologize for the echo, guys. We were having some audio issues with the loop from Ed. Does anyone have any questions in chat for Ed for what he's been doing with the books and everything? We had quite a few people in chat right now. See if we have any questions. Do you want to? So, what do you see as kind of like the future of cannabis as far as products, and then kind of like the future outlook of the industry, maybe in 5 or 10 years?
That's about as difficult a question as to say what are computers and computer technology going to look like in 10 years. I think it's the same degree of uncertainty at how fast things will progress. I think it will be legal. I think that part of the drug war will be over.
What do you see as far as technology or concentrates being kind of like the next?
Well, I think they're going to be able to target. You know how they're trying to make different potions that have different effects, either concentration or sleep or whatever. I think that targeting will get more will be more pinpointed.
I think that's what Stevens are doing right now. They're growing that right now. That's going to be something that will be able to be pinpointed as CBD or THC or particular strains or anything like that.
Yeah, I think it will be more pinpointed. Yeah. We'll have more knowledge with which to work. You know why we'll have more knowledge? Because we won't have to be driving those cars. We can just be passengers and get more work done.
What is your favorite strain to grow?
To grow. Favorites, indoors or outdoors?
Both.
What?
Both.
Well, I've been having fun with like this cross that was between a jack that was very fast and Blue Dream. So it was kind of racy. Just like was unusual. It started branching by itself. I mean, like into this unusual bush. It was unlike either of its parents.
Very interesting.
Yeah, that was outdoors. Indoors, I've been playing with bunches of varieties. I haven't really picked out anyone. Like I've been doing some experiments where there maybe are a couple of plants of each variety, but each variety only gets a square foot. I mean, 2 square feet.
Awesome.
So I grow these really small plants. So.
Very cool. Do you want to talk a little bit about what projects you're currently working on?
Well, I'm working on UV a lot, and I'm trying to develop this wick system. I mean, I've developed it, but I want it to be more ergonomic. So I'm trying to think of different ways of accomplishing certain parts of it. So we'll have fewer parts and more stuff. Fewer parts and making it easier to use, I should say. And it's a grow system that saves water and time, labor, nutrients. Saves the environment because you don't dump water in inappropriate places.
Very cool. Yeah, I know I've got a chance to see some of that stuff, which we can talk about quickly, but it's very, very cool.
That's interesting because I'm always trying to design modular, some modular systems that people can almost snap together. Take a while with tooling, container company. I watched a podcast you were on a while back, and I was wondering if I could ask you about your philosophy with the advancement of LED. Because I saw you were you always be HID.
Yeah, I understand. I don't have an ideology about it. It's just it's taken LEDs a long time to get the power in each little lamp.
Right.
That and so to supply enough light to plants. But I think that if they haven't already, they are going to overtake HIDs. There's no doubt. HIDs are temporary.
Yeah, they're starting to do that big time. I'm like you. I still held on my performance, but they are. The LEDs are definitely catching up for their producers. Excellent quality.
Yeah.
And the full spectrum lights coming out like spectrum people like that are leading the way.
Do you like those lights? Do you like Spectrum King's lights? Have you used them?
We've had them on the show a couple times, and they're very informative. And the fact that they're a major light company that makes grow lights, not a grow light company by itself, it's pretty interesting that they're really doing a lot of expression in the spectrum. White light, full spectrum.
Yeah, they primarily do other lighting with LEDs. Cannabis was one of the more minor sections of their company, but We've had him on the show multiple times. We've done a ton of side-by-sides. Fish Ganja Guy, who was here earlier, actually gave a really good side-by-side between them and which
Black
one
Dog.
was it? The Black
Dog.
Yeah. So that was a really good comparison, and then we also did a couple of others as well.
And then our friend Aquaponic Dumme has just bought cob light kits and built his own heat sinks onto them with aluminum, frames, and he's kicking butt in his grows using just he bought cob light kits and then configured them to fit his grow space, and they're working out really well. I think he's using Citizen. I'm not sure if he's using Citizen or Cree. It's one or the other, but I think he bought the Citizen lights, cob lights. And it comes with a driver for like 3 or 5 individual lamps, and you can configure them in a square or like a 5, or he's got his all in one line just going down, and he saved a ton of money compared to probably would pay $1,200 to $1,500 for that if he bought it all ready made, and I think he spent about probably about $450 on the kit for the cob lights, and then the aluminum angle iron. Looks pretty sporty. And actually, Spectrum King just came out. I can't wait to see them again, because they came out with that new light that they showed at the show with the little tiny cob lights or whatever on the. It almost looked like a one piece of angle iron. It was long and a bunch of little lights on it, and it looked pretty neat. You talked to him about that, Steve. Did we lose somebody? Oh.
Yep, we'll have the video from their new lights and stuff like that at the.
So, Steve, when are you going to start a new crop?
Say what, Ed?
I was asking Steve when he was going to start a new crop.
I think he froze up. We are having technical difficulties.
Either that or he's turned into Ben Carson.
Yeah, he's in a serious karmic state.
His eyes are closed.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll figure it out and be back in a minute. That happens every once in a while. Since he's in those hotels.
So, I've been really interested in like that new technology, how it's going to change the way people live. If it's driverless. You know what? You'll be able to send your kid to school. You won't have to drive them to school.
Right.
Put the kid.
Probably have driverless buses.
Yeah.
It's just going to make society that much lazier.
They already have driverless trains. For instance, at the airport, those shuttle trains at airports, they don't have any conductors on them.
Right.
They're all they're driverless.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Well, we lived where we got to talk to each other and look at each other while we're talking to each other. When we grew up, we always thought science fiction movies, and here across the country talking, and we live that long now. Who knows? And we saw
since everything is about money, you lose jobs of taxi drivers to fleets of driverless cars.
Yeah.
Yep. Good point.
The tipping point where automated work system is finally effective. They're gonna have to figure out kind of pretty quickly. I apologize. It's a computer problem. My phone. Real quick. Talk all this introduction for some reason. So, what kind of work have you done on microbe research and mycorrhizal microbes that you've done?
I haven't done research. I've used them, I use them, but I haven't done research on it.
Have you experimented at all with different types and any kind of anything you better than
I haven't really done any of microbe experiments. I've just worked in different areas of it.
We had a question. Do you have maintain a seed land base at all? Or do you just keep mostly easier to produce?
No, that hasn't been my focus. I mean, there are a lot of people doing that, and they spend their entire lives just doing that. I mean, that's what they focus on in terms of cannabis anyway. So I felt that I feel that it's well covered.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
People are always asking me about breeding, and I said I just don't. I've got so much else to do that there's so many good breeders and such great genetics. If you know where to find them, that I don't need to breed. I'd rather grow.
Do you what other things are you doing at the moment as far as like involved with lots of different charity groups?
I'm sorry?
I know you're involved in other groups. What are you involved with?
Well, right now I've taken, a lot of my work was around legalization, and so there are so many groups involved in that now, and there are so many people involved in it, and so much of it has gotten away from legalization per se into regulation and things like that. And so I've stepped away a little bit. But I still do work with groups that are in states where it isn't legal.
We had a person ask, is it true or not that rinse buds have mold on them? Is there any kind of to or that urban legend?
Well, if you rinse the buds, a lot of the mold floats away, and it is true. But I don't know if they'd still test for that. If they'd still test moldy, I would assume they probably would. But for instance, with powdery mildew, although none of us would use cannabis that has powdery mildew on it, when I was writing these books, I looked for any research on powdery mildew being in any way pathogenic to humans, and I was not able to find that it was. So even if bud has a little bit of powdery mildew,